Welcome back to Bronze Heroes! Everyone's favorite matchup, Protoss versus Protoss. Let me introduce. In the bottom right, the red pieces slapping down a pylon and throwing out a U2. And we're not talking about Bon Jovi. We're talking about Bootside. Bon Jovi's U2, right? Is that right? Or is that Bono? I don't know. A lot of the same letters involved in all of these. I also wasn't talking about Bon Jovi, but I am talking about in the top left with a forge on the way. It's Dockfam, which is an interesting fam to be a part of. They throw out the GLHFs. That's one pylon. That's two pylon. We knew where this was going. Larry judging this one fit, and I don't think I've seen a PvP where there aren't at least a few cannons on what some might say is the wrong side of the map. So he lays down 3 pylons and then leaves, which is a real power move. What Dockfam may have neglected to realize is you do need to build the cannons. The pylons aren't going to build the cannons themselves. Well, the probe, that's not a wall. Yeah, he slips right back in. So the ideal was good from Bootsy. Just wall off, make sure that probe doesn't get back in. There's only one issue with that plan. And that issue, that's not a wall. Well, here we are. Another probe on the way. A little late to the party. So the cannon rush will continue after a short intermission. He's going to go for the pylons. Unfortunately, well, you can't really decide what he wants, and this indecision will eventually result in potential demise. A forge is on the way. Bootsy not really... So Dockfam with the wraparound cannon rush. He went out, he came back in. Put your pylon out, put your pylon in. Put your pylon out and move your probe all about. Do the cannon rush and put the cannons in. That's the entire plan. Yes, there. You're welcome. Now, thankfully for Bootsy, it looks like the demilitarized zone here. The cannons, the cannons don't actually threaten anything. This cannon from Dockfam will threaten, but there's 2 cannons from Bootsy. So, despite how this started, it does appear we are going to end up at something of an impasse. As both players are at 16 probes. Bootsy should be able to hold, though it's a bit confusing. He will quarantine the cannons into the corner. Yes, okay, so, yeah, that's Bootsy's cannon. It's a little hard to tell sometimes. Bootsy he won't be able to take one of his gas geysers, but neither of these players is a huge fan of taking a gas geyser, like, ever. So, that's far too many levels of build order past where we are right now. But Bootsy will take his other assimilator as we move into the, macro phase. Such as it is. Some zealots are coming from Dockfam on the other side. Thankfully for Bootsy, his cannon quarantine will defend him pretty well against the zealots. A cyber core is on the way. Looks like the first cyber core will be going to Bootsy at just under 420. As we have a competition to see how many gateways are built before a cyber core is remembered. 2 zealots versus 2. Who's on a tech move, though? Both of them, and that means Bootsy will be winning this fight. With relative ease. Though Dockfam, our blue Protoss, does have zealots at home. He's built another Nexus. He's going to defend it. He's still no cyber core. The cannons are still here, by the way. I'm interested to see how long these cannons hang out in the base. It really isn't... Shield batteries are on the way. Shield batteries, a solid tool for defense. Maybe could use, like, stalkers. Jimmy! What are you doing? No! This is your... What? Don't alt-tab. What is wrong with you? Huh. No, I don't want to see it. Disgusting. I'm casting. Oh my god. Meanwhile... Well, there's going to be a stalker. So, that could change everything. It probably won't. Now, does either player know of the ancient shield battery overcharge technology? Oh! Shield battery pats the probe on the back. It does look like Dockfam has discovered warp gate research. Which is one of the more awkward probe transfer situations I've seen. Bootside has yet to discover the ancient warp gate research. I like every probe has to go through the rite of passage, alright? Did you get hit every probe when they get down the ramp? Hit by the cannon? Yeah, bro. Rough, right? Yeah. Oh. Oh, just extra shout out. We're doing it live. Mongol Chop Squad. Thank you for 13 months with Amazon Prime. Mongol Chop Squad. Lose your head over blasphemy, not high price. I don't know. I really should have planned that out. I could have said it at any time. I could have waited 30 seconds. I put it all together. But, like, I pulled a Dockfam on this one, and I just went for it with really no follow-up. So, that's my bad. Ikamoni think he can get in during the shout-out session of the live Bronze League Heroes cast, and while he may be right, he should feel slightly ashamed, okay? Public shaming.
Shame.
So...
Shame.
Obviously, as you all know, the counter to cannons is Mothership. The supply is remarkably even. +1 shield gonna buff up those cannons, which is the #1 upgrade that affects buildings. Some of you more cynically might say, isn't it the only upgrade for Protoss that affects buildings? And to that I say, that's not important. Alright, just because you were an only child doesn't mean you weren't your mother's favorite. Though it might. Like, I'm just saying. I don't count anything out. Meanwhile, there's a pylon that was discovered by Bootside's out. I don't know what the pylon was for. There's a very real chance Dockfam doesn't know what the pylon was for either, but... That pylon... Oh my god, he's warping and stuff. Where did he get... Oh, wow. Oh, an 8-gate play. The Octo Gate at Octo Minutes. Suddenly, warp gates, void race, things are escalating. Phase 2 of the battle has begun. The Stalker's kind of in a choke point, but they will break through. Bootside, the shield batteries don't cover everything. Void race on the way. Here we go again. Hallucinated Phoenix. Forgotten. Guardian Shield Sentry. Likes personal space. Going for the pylon here. Void Rays are on the way. Probes have to be pulled, or chosen to be pulled. It's really kind of a matter of opinion in this case. Some Stalker Warpins. Gonna be very methodical about it. Not quite super pylons. We like to call them challenged pylons. Nobody calls them that. They're just regular pylons. Regular, boring, not super pylons. Just normie Muggle pylons. How about that? That's what we're calling them now. The Mugglons. No, not that. The Void Rays, instead of defending in a bold play, Bootside gonna go for offense, which it could work out for him. This is somehow even more dramatic. The Void Ray overcharge. No, wait, no. Their shield battery overcharge gets the cannon back intact. The Stalker's trying to target fire. Shield battery overcharge is going to keep them all together. Prismatic alignment. Going to burn through the Stalkers as well. Great job with the shield battery overcharge for Bootside. The Stalker dance back and forth. Cannons. Wait, can these cannons hit now? Could they always hit that cannon? Wait, what happened? Did he just place the am I a crazy person? The Void Rays are still on the other side. Some Zealots and a probe. Very heroic probe tanking the damage there. The cannon contained still exists. The Void Rays are still waiting for their moment. There's also a Nexus here, and of course, we can't forget the fleet bacon is sizzling right now. Our Tosis pylon will be burnt to a crisp.
Fuck this game, man.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, it's so fucking stupid. It hurts so much.
All but one gate depowered. Does he recall? The Zealots found something to chew on. Stalker's trying to break through. Shield battery overcharged. Bootsy holding the line at home and burning through on the opposite side. It looks like Dockfam crumbling right now on all fronts. Only the cannons left. With every gateway but one depowered, there's no way he can get enough Stalkers. There are Tempests. Tempests do outrange cannons. Important to note. The Zealots will eventually carve their way to the juicy center of the Nexus. How many Zealots does it take to get to the center of a Nexus? The question is whether Dockfam is awake or not. Meanwhile, the Stalkers trying to fight. They do have +1 shields. The Void Rays, intimidated by the advanced posturing of the Stalkers, will fly away. Though, while you might be like, didn't the Void Rays have that fight won? It's really, a lot of StarCraft is about winning the mental battle, and so far Dockfam, with his blatant disregard for his own unit's survival, has been both living rent-free inside Bootsy's head and also in his base. There are still cannons here. Like, that has not finished yet. Wait, Dockfam knows about the Nexus, but Bootsy is now putting cannons around his not-so-hidden base. The Stalkers choosing their own personal targets to deal with, and that if we shoot at all of the cannons, maybe nobody will kill any cannons, and the cannons will finish. Unfortunately, that was not discussed beforehand. Or maybe all the cannons will die. Or maybe some of the cannons will die. Somehow this is gonna turn out about even. The Void Ray charges up, kind of saunters into the battle. Tempest sieging the contain. Dockfam's response is to build another round of cannons around his base, because that really solves the underlying problem here. The Tempest, it takes a bit, but will eventually chip their way through, and it looks like Bootsy with 81 to 34 supply, well, 38 now. And Dockfam relying on Stalkers and Cannons, two units not very well known for their stopping power against things like Void Rays and Tempests. I mean, technically Stalkers can counter Tempests and Void Rays and Cannons, but, like, very technically, water counters a mountain. Like, eventually, maybe with enough of it over a long-ass time, but while it may take a geologic age for Dockfam to recover economically, I don't think Bootsy is going to give him that opportunity. Unless, well, there's one pylon powering 7 cannons and 2 gates here. There are Tempests on the way across. There's enough Stalkers. It's going to be 1-1-1 upgrades. There's campaign level groups of Stalkers across the board. Units are just kind of going all over the place. The Stalkers are going to fight into shield batteries and cannons. Shield battery overcharge has been a mainstay here. The Tempests at the front. The Stalkers take their sweet time deciding whether or not they're losing this fight. But they do eventually... Oh, here are the Tempests. Tempest not particularly great against Stalkers. But they do fly, and the Stalkers do not. Another thing counting against them. There's also another Tempest waiting for them, or, well, okay, well, alright. The Stalkers just... They're struggling. There's a bit of a struggle. The contain has finally been dealt with, and that's what inspired the Tempest on the way across the map. More Stalkers warped in. One Tempest, well, okay. Like, one Tempest, maybe. Some Stalkers microing back. There are still cannons. Bootsy just gotta take it nice and slow and steady, but the Stalkers are moving into the cannons, which is giving Dockfam the opportunity to fight them. And he's using that opportunity to the fullest. It ain't over yet. Though the Tempest... Is there warp gate? Oh, there was warp gate at some point. There's a few Void Rays at home, but we don't worry about those. Tempests don't do that much damage at all to Stalkers, but it's enough. Well, we'll see. Some more stalkers showing up to the party. Dockfam struggling here. He's been nearly underwater this whole game. Ever since the probe kind of wandered away from the cannon rush, it's been a tough time for Mr. Fam over here. But Bootsy hasn't quite been able to find the killing blow. So here we are. Bootsy chipping and chopping and sieging through, though the Tempest now with enough more than one stalker was really the number we were looking for. And finally, Dockfam finds it, as he will, with 2 cannons and 3 stalkers to spare, hold the line. Bootsy, a bit of a macro player himself, though, as he has a whopping 51 probes to complement his 58 actions per minute. He's taken what we're going to technically call a 4th base. He has Void Rays. He's only lost, well, Dockfam's actually lost 5,000 more minerals throughout this. It's been a tough time. The Zealot will immediately scout, like Dockfam thought that corner base was a good idea. Though it may have been a bit obvious in this scenario, because you know what the hardest thing to do in StarCraft is? Take your 3rd. Oh, wow. The technical knockout! He just taps it out! I guess credit to Dockfam for recognizing the situation, but Bootsy, with his incredibly and almost dangerously patient defense, if that's what we can call it. Bootsy, with his tenacious expansion, his stalwart cannons, his inspired stargates, and at the end of the day, his victory. Thank you to Larry for bringing us this. Yes, the Larry C. Or I think it's Larry C. I hope I didn't screw that up. You can thank him and more in the Discord for looking through and finding what is the best of the worst. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, show your support, and we can find and show and experience Bronze League heroes.